I'm 16 years old and male. I have a 4-month-old daughter, and well, my ex-girlfriend and me, we're not seeing eye to eye. She wants to leave, go away to college, and leave me with our kid. And well, I decided to tell my dad about it, and he had this to say. My parents divorced when I was 10, but lived primarily with my mom. Tiffany's parents are together. When our parents found out she was pregnant at 16, her parents kicked her out and my mom kicked me out. So now we live with my father. During the pregnancy, my dad took my mom to court and got primary sole custody. I know what this means because I had to go to court for my daughter. He sued Tiffany's parents for legal guardianship, and they now pay child support for her, and they're extremely mad and refuse to talk to us. I'm in my bedroom, and my daughter is in her bedroom, and my ex is in the guest room. That is now hers. My dad made a deal with us. We live with him until 18 with no rent payment at 18, and we need to decide what it is we do. I wasn't really that good in school, and Tiffany is an A+ student. So I took my GED, and my dad got me into welding school. I finish in 2 months, and I also work full-time, so I do welding school at night. Tiffany goes to school and works on weekends at Wendy's. This whole thing is a huge ordeal. We literally have no life. My dad helps, but not that much because he feels it's our responsibility, which I agree, but still sucks. I work 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. at a warehouse and go to school from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Tiffany is home by 2:30 and picks up her daughter from daycare. We help each other a lot, and then I head off to school, and she stays with her at home until I get home and do it all over again the next day. When our daughter was born, my dad made us go to court, and we have 50-50. I don't pay child support because she lives with us. Because I work full-time, I can get health care for my daughter and myself, and that sucks that it costs me $300 a month. And well, daycare is like $400 a week. So literally, Tiffany just works so we can pay for daycare, and I pay for everything else. When we're short for cash, my dad'll help because he always sees that we're trying. My dad, well, I could say he's been our rock. When we're tired and exhausted, he'll step in and give us a break here and there, but he makes sure we have everything we need and keeps us motivated. Tiffany wants to apply to college soon, and I'm worried because I don't want to keep living with her. And I don't think I can keep our daughter full-time as a welder working 12-hour shifts. But she says she'll start at community college and work, but wants to stay with us living together since it's easier. Since I'll be working and it will be best for us to stay with my dad. But my dad said at 18 we have to pay rent. She doesn't mind, but I don't want to keep living with her because we aren't even together. I'm unsure how to tell her this. My dad thinks she should stay with us as long as she is a full-time student to finish her degree, because I'm already getting my career anyways. I don't know. I just feel like all this is unfair because the burden's on me. Okay guys, this story's starting to heat up. Let me just tell you, there's 3 mini updates on the original post, and then we're going to hop into the main update. I hope you guys are enjoying your day today. Here's the first edit made by OP. I guess my thing about living with her, or with us, is that we're more like siblings now. We get along, joke and stuff, but since she's my ex, I feel weird out about it. Maybe I need to take a breather since everyone's saying it's a good thing. Also, I needed to hear it from other people and not just my dad. And he's pretty solid, and I should thank him maybe, I don't know, take him to dinner or something. Edit number 2. Well, my dad isn't kicking us out at 18, but he wants us to be realistic to the world and pay bills. The money he gets from Tiffany's parents, he just gives it to her. She's saving up money for a car, and uses the other money for her specific foods and clothes. Before I became a dad, my dad always wanted me to live with him at 18, and figure it out and stay with him and save money to buy a house. When he found out I was going to be a dad, he wasn't mad, but he definitely was disappointed, and said everything has to now drastically change. He's also paying for my welding school of $20,000. And he did buy me my first car, but I do have to pay my own insurance, you know. He does help though, as long as he sees we're trying and not being straight up lazy. You know, like looking at TikTok all day, or Instagram Reels, or heck, even playing video games too much. When school recently started, he took my daughter to daycare every morning and helped Tiffany with the routine to get schoolwork done. Here's the final edit before the main update. Well guys, I have to get to class now. Tiffany wants to be a nurse or a PA, but the college told her nursing school's hard to get into, and it's best to have a high school diploma, which is why she's still in high school and working at the weekends. But someone mentioned a dual thing for community college that we're going to look into. Thank you for that comment. So, we could not get daycare assistants because we're minors, and they just use my dad's salary. The funny thing is, though, I can't open a checking account for myself because I'm a minor, but the bank allowed me to open a children's account for my daughter because, well, I'm her parent. LOL, the irony. I read every single comment, and it's given me a different point of view, and I guess college seems so far away. And I was counting years, but it's really not that bad. By the way, she's like a sister now, and those who asked, I doubt we'll ever get back together. Honestly, I'm thinking about anything like that right now. I'm not. And I'm too tired to think of a relationship or anything like that type of future. But thank you for all the advice, comments, and replies. Okay, Mr. Reddito here. So it's been 3 long weeks, and OP finally lets us know what's going on. The title is, I'm a 16-year-old male. I have a 4-month-old daughter, and ex-girlfriend wants to go to college. Here we go. Hey guys, I know it's been like 15 or more days since I updated. Sorry about that, but here it goes. Tiffany and my dad went to the school and were able to get her enrolled in college courses because of her grades being so fantastic. She won't graduate high school too fast, but she'll have enough to finish high school hours by next December, so I guess you could say 6 months early. She reapplied for assistance and we got a voucher for daycare, so now it's $50 a week. She quit her job so she can focus on school, but she doesn't start school until spring, so that's cool, it gives her some time. She still wants to be a nurse, so that's cool too. I got a new job that pays more as a forklift operator, and it'll give me an internship for welding, which I won't be able to start until December, until I finish my classes, and then I have to do a 2-month internship. But hey, guys, they're paying me really good. I started Monday, and I love the guys there. My dad and I had a long talk about my fears, and he just reassured me a couple things. That it's okay to be scared, but we have a game plan. He's fixing up the basement to make 2 bedrooms and a living room, like a little apartment, because he said Tiff and I will need space as we grow. He wants me to buy the house when I'm 18, like he did with his parents, and Hugh will help me pay it as long as Tiff gets to stay until she finishes college and lets her make her own choice after that. We all agreed this is probably the best option, and we're really much happier now. I guess I just needed to let it all out. Tiff and I are great while being parents is hard, but it's been good now that we feel a bit more secure. My mom and Tiff's parents still haven't spoken to us because we aren't married. It's been forever now. Which does make me sad, but it's okay, we still have Dad. Tiff's grandparents bought her a car and said that's all they can do for her and to never contact again. Yeah, they're waiting for us to get married. The car needs some work, but I'm going to pay for it to get fixed up. It needs brakes, suspension, just some regular maintenance. Well, my dad finally told me what all happened, and I did not know, but it made my eyes open to the roof. My dad met my mom in high school too, and they were together and got caught kissing by the teacher. Since my mom's family are Baptist, they forced my dad to marry her. I didn't know in Missouri parents can marry away their children at 15, which is why my dad has been so protective. They were going to marry Tiff and I because she was pregnant, and when my dad stepped in, they couldn't do a thing. My mom and Tiff's dad went and got a license for us and were going to get married in a church with us. I guess I wouldn't have minded marrying Tiffany, but I would rather do it later. But yeah, that's why they aren't talking to us. My dad did say that it happened he would help us get it annulled, but we have no intentions of speaking to them right now, so they have no way in our life. He explained that Tiff is stuck, and while I might be afraid, she's even more afraid because she has no one, and I need to reassure her we're here for her as a family. I guess I couldn't see it that way, and it's good that I've talked to him. I'm hugged by my dad, and I've been hugging him every day now, and it's nice. It's just made us so much closer. All of this information made me pretty sad and grateful at the same time, and it helped Tiff and I really start talking more. Like, we talked, but we didn't talk, and I didn't know she was scared. And we're now doing days for us to be kids, as my dad says. So we both hang out with our friends who still talk to us at least once a week. And Tiff and I, well, we do a lot of stuff now on the weekends, since she doesn't work as much. Like taking Jelly to the park and going for walks. We even did a pumpkin patch. Jelly seems to be happier too, and Tiffany doesn't seem as tired anymore, and I can see just the brightness in her eyes. Anyways, I just am so sorry for rambling about my life. Thanks everyone for all your help, tips, and encouragement. I doubt I'll update again, and just lurk for parenting advice. Okay guys, so that was kind of a wild story. Let's go ahead and read one of these comments that gives a perspective about the father and how much he actually did for them. Well, let me just say how much I think the dad is just absolutely great. Can't think of a better role model for how to parent. And just saying, he has matured quickly at a young age. By will or by circumstance doesn't matter. But the dad coming from a similar situation and treating Tiff with such respect, like she's his own child too, is just making his son consider how she feels without belittling that it's difficult for the son to do. What a rationale, healthy system they've developed for what could have been a single mistake that limited both the teenage parents and daughter's opportunities in life. It's nice to see good non-drama and cheating gossipy stories for once. So guys, let me know your thoughts on this story. What would you have done? And how big of an impact did the father actually provide? Give me all the deets. Drop it in the comment section down below. You guys know what to do. And let's turn our attention to the final story of the day. OP's parents kidnapped her, held her hostage at their own home after a major car accident. So this is my first post ever. This might be a little long, but there's a lot of backstory. So sorry. I got divorced mid last year, 2020. I started dating my current boyfriend, who's an absolute sweetheart. We both have a medical background working as paramedics. When we first started talking, he exaggerated when he had been working at the ambulance company. Yes, it was kind of a lie, but what he said was he was still working there as a full-timer, when he was really on a volunteer status from some type. Kinda stupid, but not the end of the world, at least I don't think so. In January, my boyfriend had to go to the ER for some pretty nasty bleeding ulcers and was subsequently admitted. On my way home early that morning, I crashed my car, resulting in a crushed left foot, torn ligaments in the right knee, and a nasty concussion, and some bruised lungs. Somehow, my parents found out that he had exaggerated his employment with the ambulance company, and I think they may have blamed him for my car accident. I ended up being in the hospital for about a week, undergoing 2 surgeries for my foot, and finally being able to get discharged home. A lot of this time frame, I don't remember because of my concussion, but I do remember some snippets. I remember my boyfriend coming and visiting me, helping me bathe, get up, use the restroom, which is incredibly hard when both legs aren't working, and so on. Making sure I was comfortable and everything. My mom would come and visit me a couple days during this time period and started telling me that my boyfriend was lying to me. about a lot of random stupid stuff, and started planting these lies in my head when she knew I was compromised mentally. My boyfriend and his 2 kids had been living with me and my daughter up until this point, and I initially wanted to come home to all of them for my healing process, which is still going on to 5 months later. My parents barged into my apartment and kicked him and his 2 daughters out of the apartment, telling my complex that I wanted them out, and I had specifically asked them to take care of it. By the way, I never did such a thing. Since we were in the process of adding my boyfriend and the girls to my lease, this ended up in a near eviction for me, and I had to go to my parents to rehab. A whole nother story for later, but it was no fun. My parents had me block my boyfriend, and I did not get the chance to see him again until nearly 3 weeks after I was released from the hospital. At which point I was able to talk to him and clear up all the lies that my parents told me that he had fed me. I realized that they had been the ones telling me all the lies. Okay, so now, my parents have actually been assisting my boyfriend's soon-to-be ex-wife. They've been in the process of divorce for over a year, and they were helping her get false protection orders against him and trying to get his kids taken away. At first, I was wavering on who I stood behind, but my parents started coming to my apartment stalking me and my boyfriend, making threats against his life, and overall making it to the point where I don't feel safe in my own home because I just don't know when they're going to show up and demand me to hand over my daughter, threatening to go to my ex-husband and try to get my custody taken away, and so much more. I've since cut them out of my life, blocking their number from my phone and making sure they have no contact with my daughter. But I still feel terrible completely cutting them out. Am I doing the right thing? Someone, please, anyone, tell me, is this the right thing, or am I being a total jerk? Either way, sorry for the long thread. I tried to put as much context as possible, but I've never done this before. What's up, guys? Mr. Reddito here. This story is kind of crazy because there wasn't an update for actually months. We're going to jump into that now. If you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button, as there's daily stories every single day and you don't want to miss any updates. Let's see what's going on with this entitled family. Wow. I'm a little overwhelmed with how fast this post exploded. Sorry it took so long for the update. I tried to keep up with as many comments as possible, but I figured this would just be easier to answer the questions thrown at me. But first off, I definitely understand those who are skeptical about my post. It's more than a little bizarre, and I'm probably not the best at describing some of the situations. But I seriously appreciate all the great advice that's been given. And I'm looking at some other options listed in the comments as well. That's what I'm already doing. I think the easiest part for me to clear up is the question about the insurance and my entitled mother getting me off the insurance I had with my boyfriend and putting me on the state insurance without me or my boyfriend's consent. As an adult, I can call in and cancel my coverage anytime with or without the policyholder's knowledge. There doesn't need to be a major life change in order to be taken off a policy. Usually, to get a new insurance coverage or add someone to the insurance. All my entitled mother needed was the insurance information and access to my information as well as his, which she had. She already had all my personal information, including my social security number and my insurance info. This is how she signed me up for insurance coverage through the state as well. As some of you speculated, I'm sure it had something to do with the financial control she could exert over me, as well as trying to totally get my boyfriend out of my life for good. But honestly, I'll probably never get the real answer to that. The reason why I did not get the hospital bill immediately is a pretty easy explanation. First off, my car insurance coverage included medical bill payments as well, up to a certain amount of money. At first, going through the billing process, the hospital, orthopedics, anesthesiologist, blah blah blah, had to send their bills through my car insurance first, and then through my health insurance. I'm not 100% sure how that all works exactly, but I do know it was a mess, and it took multiple tries to even explain to all the doctors what was already paid out, who got the money, and the next insurance to bill. As well as it took weeks for them and myself to realize that while I was in the hospital, the insurance I went in with got canceled mid-hospital stay. So, bills got sent out to the insurance I had at my boyfriend's, which was followed by confusion from the hospital, insurance companies, and of course myself, trying to figure out when it got cut off. My entitled mother did tell me eventually what she's done with my insurance and how she changed it, but by that point, it was too late. I was already scrambling to try to rectify the situation and get as much covered from the hospital stay as possible. Even doing that, I still owe them nearly $50,000 in medical bills. For those who had questions about how I'd gotten on his insurance in the first place when he started the job, well, he had the insurance from which he had qualified as domestic partners because of how long we've been living together and how long the relationships lasted. For everyone wondering if we went to the police or filed charges or anything along those lines, it's a very long story, but yes, we are. I have a very good lawyer who actually represents myself and my boyfriend. It took me a while after I got home to my apartment to get to the point where I could cut contact with entitled mother. When I finally got home, I tried to start seeing my boyfriend again, and we started the long process of trying to, quote, heal from what happened since entitled mother had essentially kicked him and his 2 kids out of my apartment in the middle of winter. They honestly just straight up had nowhere to go. The kids ended up staying with friends for a while, and he stayed in his car and rented a hotel room when possible. I wasn't fully aware of what exactly was going on at the time, as entitled mother had my cell phone and access to my phone, and while I was at her home, she watched me like a hawk. And to make sure that I simply just did not contact him. If I did, oh boy, I got berated like you absolutely could not believe, screamed at, and at one point did not have access to my phone, which was all very confusing because I was on very heavy-duty pain medicine, as well as having confusion from the TBI concussion as well. After I made it to my apartment and started to have more contact with my boyfriend, my entitled mother escalated. Staying at my apartment, even though I told her I was fine, showing up randomly, and even actually getting so angry that I refused to cut contact with my boyfriend, that she threatened to actually hurt him. That was when I grew a slight backbone and decided that it just wasn't going to get any better. At that point, I filed for a protection as well as my boyfriend who copied my paperwork. When the first protection orders got dropped because, quote, we didn't have sufficient evidence, she had gotten a lawyer at this point, but we did not because we couldn't pay her for the retainer. And this was before I've gotten smart enough to install cameras or call recorders on my phone. My entitled mother went to the city's prosecutor's office and told them that she wanted to press charges of perjury against my boyfriend. Yeah, you got that right. I said perjury. Well, I think this is where the friendship with the prosecutor started, and it was very hard for us to get anything to stick, because entitled mother was getting in with the local PD and prosecutors. Yeah, it's getting that bad. They ended up going after my boyfriend and not me. Yes, that's selective prosecution. Yes, it's very illegal. At this same time, my mother and father are retired, by the way, and apparently have nothing better to do with themselves. And they've been in contact with my boyfriend's ex-wife, who starts a custody battle for his children. They'd been separated for some time, but the divorce had been stalled in court for several years at this point. They also filed in small claims court for lawyer and court fees after our first protection order was removed. My ex-husband had been allowing my daughter to see both of my parents still, which I did fight and which has probably spurred the grandparent right visitation case that they filed during the same time. So, We've been fighting one thing at a time, collecting all the evidence that we can, all the hospital paperwork, especially those that were forged and had to be requested from the hospital again. The phone calls to the insurance company needed to be requested, and we needed our lawyer to get those. It wasn't something that they were just going to give us, unfortunately. At this point, we have wadded through almost all the court filings my entitled mother had thrown at us, and we're finishing gathering our evidence so we can counterattack at this point. At the time, our lawyer was telling us to be patient. We're going to lay low, gather as much as we can, and get through the thick of it. But we can throw what we have in the system, but we needed and wanted to have enough to nail them to the wall. From here, there'll be a counter lawsuit, both jointly between myself and my boyfriend, and of course separate lawsuits as well as submitting what we have for identity theft. Well, guys, it's a very long process, and it takes a lot of time, effort, and money to get things moving. For those of you wondering if me and my boyfriend got back together and how that's going, oh yes, we did. We did get back together. It didn't take long for me to start realizing what was happening when I wasn't being given heavy narcotics, and my brain started the healing process from the wreck. It did, though, take some time for me to wade through everything that happened and try to recall memories here and there. We did get back together, found a new place, and moved in together with his 2 children and my daughter. We've had some hard times, of course, like many people in life, but we're both a little damaged from the whole process that we've gone through. But hey, we both have counseling and we're doing great. Therapy has worked absolute wonders. Well, guys, I hope this helps explain and expand on questions everyone's been asking in the comment section. Thank you, everybody, for the advice, and I hope you enjoyed this update. Guys, reading through the comment section on this story was absurd. There's so many people who have been in a similar situation like this. Tons of people giving their side and their story, what they've been through. So that leaves me with this. If you guys have been through anything like this story, drop your comments down below and tell me all about it. I hope you enjoyed these 2 stories. Thank you so much for joining me on today's videos. And if you're new here, just so you know, you can find the links to my other channels directly below in the description section. I post daily videos on all my channels, so go subscribe to those if you do want more content. Guys, have a wonderful day, and remember, it's cool to be kind. A peace.